Hi everybody, I hope you're well. Today I am at the beautiful location house in the UK with the amazing Elle, and I'm going to show you how I created this photograph, which is a composite of many images. It's quite complicated but also very easy when you know what the process is. So let's crack on. So before we get into this video, I just want to say a big thank you to the location house. It's beautiful here. If you are interested in doing a shoot here, I'll leave a link to their Instagram on the screen, but it is absolutely stunning as you can see. Equally, Elle's Instagram is on the screen now because Elle has been amazing as well. I've not worked here before, I've not worked with Elle before, but it's been so good so far. And what I'm going to do now is try something that I haven't done before, which is a composite photograph of Elle on the sofa, where we're going to use, I imagine, 7 or 8 images, and at the end of the video I'm going to show you how I'm going to blend them together to create the overall final photograph. So to do this, first of all, the camera has to be on a tripod. The reason is that I'm going to take lots of photographs with Helen, who's very kindly going to help me with this shoot, in the photograph many times. So I want to then blend the photograph together so that you can't see Helen. So I need the camera to be still. If I was to move the camera midway through, it won't work. So if you're going to do this handheld, you'd need to be so still. So please, you're going to do this, remember to have your camera on a tripod and do not move the camera throughout the whole process. The next stage is just to get a very basic shot, your composition right, and I love this composition we've got here. And once you've got that composition, again, not to change your settings. So I'm going to underexpose this scene quite a lot. I'm going to go to ISO 100 because I'm trying to kill the ambient light. I'm going to put my aperture at f4 and I'm just going to put my shutter speed where it needs to be for the exposure to look good. So I'm going to go to 100. So again, my settings are 1/100th of a second, f4, ISO 100. Now that is very underexposed. Now that's not going to be a problem because we'll be using the MagBox to light Elle with. So I'm just going to take a base image first of Elle and then bring Helen in with the MagBox. So all my settings look good there. The next stage is we're going to get the MagBox ready. I'm going to use the MagBox Pro 24 and it's on what's called a quick stick, which is really handy because this means that Helen can then just move it around really easy. Now I don't want very much spill to come out of the MagBox, so as well as the diffusion panel, I'm also going to add on the grid. Now this will limit the spill of the light, so rather than the light coming out at quite a wide angle like this, it's going to just make it more of a beam of light. So we're going to be controlling the light much better. And this is going to give us a really nice light source. And within the MagBox, we will put in a Godox AD200. That is speedlight A. It's not going to be very low power. I imagine the lowest power. So what I'm now going to do is ask Helen, who's filming this, to put the camera down. Then she's going to hold this and we're just going to take a few shots of Elle in different places. So we're going to light here, we'll light here, maybe a bit at the bottom of the dress there. Most importantly here as well, obviously Elle herself. I'm going to ask Elle to stay still throughout all this. That will just make the editing process easier. And we might even just light up little bits of the sofa maybe, just to give us more ingredients basically to then play with when we get home and go into Photoshop. But that's going to be the general idea. So I'm going to put that here, say thank you to Helen and ask Helen to go from camera duty to speedlight duty. So again, my settings are 1/100th of a second, f4 at ISO 100. That is giving me a very underexposed image. Again, that is good because the light is going to come from the MagBox. So I'm going to make sure, first of all, that we get our focus. Because I'm using back button focus, once I've got the focus, there it is. I've just focused on Elle's face there. I'm not going to touch the focus again now. All I'm going to be doing is pressing the shutter each time. Try a little test shot, Helen, if that's right. Just a bit more in front of Elle. Again, this isn't counting, but yeah, we need a bit more power. That's because I've got the grid on, I think. It's going to go from 128 power to 132. Stunning. This is going to look so good. Perfect. Okay, so we'll now just start taking a series of images. So we'll leave Elle's face to the end. If we can just start with just various places around the dress, if that's okay, please. That's it, yeah. Perfect, Helen. Now I'm not sure of these which I'm actually going to use, but it's just to give ourselves options. Perfect, yeah. So nice and close, beautiful. Elle, just looking as you are, stunning. Just casting your eyes down towards your right elbow, that's it, yeah. Really good. Even closer, Helen, if that's okay. The closer the light source, the softer the light. So, oh, amazing. And then just looking at Helen, more or less, if that's right, please, Elle. So now what I want to do with Helen out of the shot is just take another shot now with the speed light turned off. That will give me my base image, and from that base image, I'm now going to add on the other areas that Helen has kindly lit. So, huge thank you to Elle for this. You've been amazing. What I'm now going to do is pass you over to me in Photoshop to composite all these photographs together to create what I really am hoping is going to be a very cool final image. So, over to me in Photoshop.
Okay, so let's now open up Photoshop and blend these images together to create the final image. Before we do though, this is my new office. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really pleased and excited to be working here. I will do a video of an office tour where you see all the equipment that I'm using, because there's quite a lot of new things that I'm using. So I will make a dedicated video for that, but please let me know what you think in the meantime. Anyway, let's open up Photoshop now and work on these images. So to start with, I'm going to go to File, Scripts, and load files into stack. I'm now going to select the images that I want to bring into Photoshop as layers. Now, as you can see here, I'm just going to bring in 4 JPEGs. When I was playing around with this image, I thought I'd want more images, but 4 is absolutely fine. These are also straight out of camera JPEGs. I've not done any editing to these images at all. But because I had so much time on the shoot and could get my settings exactly where I want them, the JPEGs are absolutely fine. So let's click on OK. And as you will see, they will appear in Photoshop as layers. Now, we're looking at 4 files here, and each file is a layer. And the one that we're looking at here is the one with the I tick next to it. So we've got the file that ends 815, that's what we're looking at because this I is selected. If we untick this, we're looking at 819, untick this, we're looking at 840, and if we untick this one, we're looking at 843. And this is the image that I like to be at the bottom of the layers because this is the image with no off-camera flash use at all, as you can see. So this is my base layer, and what I'm going to do now is just add on sections of these other files here to create the final image. So if I click on the eye again, and we're looking at 840, I want to bring in this part of this photograph and add it onto that bottom layer. But I don't want to use this section up here where you can just about see Helen holding the MagBox. So to do that, what I'm going to do is select that layer, then with the Option key held down on a Mac, I'm going to select this option here, Layer Masks. Now that will make that layer transparent, and what I can now do is with a white brush I can paint through the section of that layer that I want to see. Now before we get into that, first of all, I like to use a brush, you can see here, with the hardness set to 0. If I was to put the hardness to 100 and then go over Elle, we can very clearly see the difference between this layer and the layer underneath, and it just doesn't work well at all. If we undo that and change the hardness to 0, then do the same thing, you'll see that it's much softer. The edges of the brush are so soft that you can't see the join, and that's really good. That's what we want. Also for this, I'm going to have the opacity of the brush to 100%. I may lower that for some of the other layers, but let's just now paint through the section of this layer that I want to see. So again, white brush, let's just go over Elle there. Now, if I was to go too far, as you'll see I have done at the top, then we'll have an issue because we start to see the softbox coming through. So if you do that, all you need to do is change the brush color to black. That will hide that section. Yeah, that looks good there. That's all we need from that layer. To be honest, it looks really nice as it is, but I'm going to use these other layers. So if we can now click on the eye here, we're looking at this layer now. So I want to just take this section. So what I'm going to do, again, is hold down the Option key, press Layer Masks, and then just go over the area again that I want to use. Now, for me, I think the brush set to 100% opacity, as it currently is too much. So I'm going to just press, say, 4 on the keyboard to lower the opacity to 40%, and then I'm just going to go over that section, and we don't need much at all. Less is more sometimes with this, and I think that's all I probably need. So if I zoom in and then click on the eye again, you can see that's all I've added there. It's very, very subtle. And with this section here, yeah, I'm just going to just use a little bit of the bottom here, not much at all. So again, let's select this layer, Option key, Layer Masks, and just a little bit down here. Not much, in fact, just there. Again, less is definitely more. And let's just see what that layer is doing on its own. You see, it just lights up that little bit of the dress. In fact, I'm going to go to black, 20%, and just take the sting out of some of that. So we're left with that there. So if we now untick the eyes, that was our base layer. That's the version of Elle that I want to use. And then from file 819, I've used this little section. And then from 815, I've just lit up the bottom of the dress. In fact, I'm still going to go delete that even more. Look, I want your eye just to go straight to Elle. Now, what I want to do actually, because these were straight out of camera JPEGs, I'm just going to make another little adjustment on the bottom layer here. I'm just going to press Command M to open up the curves and just lift up the curves slightly, just to bring a bit more exposure back. Not much, just something like that. I'm now going to layer and flatten the image. We've got just a single layer now. And just with the burn tool, just add a slight vignette. My exposure's on 20%, so it's not very strong. And another couple of things. This is me just going to really crazy detail here. But I don't like these lines here. They were from the windows that are reflecting. They were actually behind me when I was taking this. But they look a little bit distracting. So I'm going to go over here and select the remove tool. This is really cool, this tool. And now we just paint over the lines, and by magic, they will disappear. Let's just go there, maybe there as well. Yeah, just like that. It's very, very quick and very, very simple. And also, the very last thing I want to do, just this little bit of a crease on the sofa. Just going to go over there, maybe that bit there. That's my fault. I should have corrected this at the time. Should have plumped them up better. Yeah, that was better. Now we've got this little bit of a funny gap there. Let's just go over there. And there we go. There is the final image. It's a very, very simple process, as you can see here. Once you practice this, it takes you seconds to do it. As you can see, I've just gone through it really quickly. But the more you do it, as with anything, the better you'll get and the faster you'll get. And it's a really, really effective technique, because the lighting that you're seeing in this image here would be impossible were it not for the fact we're using composite. Because to have the light source that close to give us that quality of light, we need the light source to be really, really close. And if it is that close, it's going to be in the photograph. So that's why we need to take it out. So yeah, it's a very, very effective technique to create these really beautiful portraits. Once again, a huge thank you to Elle for modeling and to Helen for filming. And as always, if you have any questions at all about anything I've done in this video, please do let me know in the comments. Thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you next time.